A slip in your palm and a hole in your chest. Black coffee on the felt, man, you look like a mess. 3-team parlay turned to dust in your hand. Now you stare at the chips like they made you this man. But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.
What's up, everybody? It's Toad back with you. Toadstool Sports. It is Thursday, June 4th. I keep wanting to say May. 2-1 on the show yesterday. I mean, it was a winning day, so I'm happy about that. With maybe a couple of caveats. The easier win was the one that I added on the fly during the show, the Red Sox. Easy win. Whoever was in the chat that said Tolley was going to get destroyed, I did not agree with that. And he did not. The Red Sox put up some offense again, so I think it was an 8-1 win. That was an easy win. Whether you did money line, run line, whatever, that all won. San Francisco, they outplayed Milwaukee in the game. They were winning. They got the one run they scored was in the 5th inning, and they somehow held on to that and won 1-0. They out-hit Milwaukee in the game like 8-3 or something, though. So San Francisco was the better team in the game. Logan Webb, a huge part of that handicap was his numbers against Milwaukee. I thought that he was undervalued. He put in a really good performance yesterday, so I like that. That was good. Hopefully you guys got the win on that. I didn't really make it totally clear, but when I gave that play out on the show, it was completely dependent on Webb being the starter, but Milwaukee had not even listed a starter yet. So hopefully, if and when you made the bet, because I basically said I don't even care what Milwaukee's doing with their pitching here, as long as they don't put in some like good starter, I don't care. Like, we're gonna fade them here. I thought it was gonna be Crowe, but it wasn't. They actually used Gasser for the majority of the pitching, and they actually saved their bullpen because they just went Gasser, Patrick, and they actually pitched pretty well. But San Francisco got that one run off of Gasser, so I'm still happy about that. But again, if you made that play, the way I would have done it, because I don't think I was clear, I said it on my Instagram video, though. I would have selected Webb must start because he's a huge part of the handicap. But in that case, you had no idea who Milwaukee even had as a starting pitcher. So it was action on the Milwaukee side, basically, if that makes sense. Baseball, it's kind of crazy to bet, dude, because you can specify both starters must start. You can actually specify one of the two starters must start. Or you can specify action in the whole game and not even care about the starting pitchers. So those are all the different ways of doing it. And if you do any option that involves a certain pitcher must start, if that pitcher winds up not starting, then your bet doesn't count. You just get your money back. It's a voided bet. Hopefully that all makes sense. Dirty Sock, what's up? Milwaukee didn't really change. They never had announced their pitcher. So what did you do? I think if you made that bet, it still counted. Milwaukee never announced Crowe, I don't think. Like, throughout the day, they were still undecided. When I gave the play out, they were undecided. So I think as long as you made the play at that point, I think it won, right? Like, it happened, I think. I'm counting it as a win on the show. But, yeah, I don't think they ever switched pitchers. I think they just waited into the later part of the day to even announce who was starting. So, no, that was a win. And then Phoenix should have been a win. Phoenix had a double-digit lead in the second quarter. They looked like they were starting to run away with the game. Then I don't know what happened, dude. Phoenix won the rebound battle by double digits. They were clearly the better team in the game. They lost that entire lead, and then they still pushed the lead back to 7. They were winning the game by 7 with like 2 minutes to go, and then they like basically didn't score again. And I think they might have allowed the game to become tied or something. Or it became like a 2-point game maybe, again, late in the game. Dude, I don't know what that was. They went on like a 2-minute drought. I think it was like 2.5 left. They were up 7. So it's like, all right, they're going to get fouled a little bit. They're going to put the game away here. No. They just didn't score again until they absolutely needed to right at the end because they almost lost. And then the other thing about that game is they hit 3 3-pointers in the entire game. So my last 2 WNBA plays, those 2 teams have combined for 4 3-pointers across 2 entire games. Like, you have to be kidding me. Even the worst WNBA team doesn't shoot that poorly, and I know we had the worst in one of them, Connecticut, but Phoenix is not one of the worst teams, and they did get the win yesterday. A money line play would have won on them, but I think I was correct. I think that was a correct play. Like, the money hard. The money came in on Phoenix hard. Like, that line went off 7.5, and I gave it out when it was 5.5, 6. It was 6 throughout the day. And if you got 6 or whatever, you obviously beat the closing number and you got on the good side of the key number of 7. So I don't know. I don't think any of those plays were bad yesterday, but it was a 2-1 day on the show. The Giants counted. I am almost positive they did not switch their pitcher. But I should have specified. I did on the Instagram video that I put out like in the late afternoon. I said specify Webb must start, and I don't care about who starts for Milwaukee. First 5. Wait, what? I don't. What are you asking? Does it come down to whoever's on the board? No, it's like the default behavior. It doesn't matter if it's first 5 or full game. The default behavior is that the listed starters must start, but you can change your bet. You can specify action and whatever. You could do that on the first 5 or the full game. All right. Let's go to today's board here. We have 9 baseball games today. Thursday. Hopefully this will be a little bit of a quicker show. And then there are a couple of WNBA games. I have 1 baseball play today. We have some afternoon games because these teams are finishing their series. San Diego is trying to avoid getting swept again by Philadelphia. So you got to think San Diego is going to show up with some motivation because Philadelphia already went out there, swept them, and now Philadelphia is about to do it at home too. Each game has only been a 1-run win for Philadelphia. Low-scoring games because these offenses have not been able to do anything. Now the question is Philadelphia going to be looking ahead to the White Sox? That's who they start playing tomorrow. I don't really think so. I also am not going to come in here and fade Zach Wheeler, dude. I'm just not going to do it. This pitching matchup is certainly not in favor of San Diego here. I will tell you that. So I'm not going to play this game. Philadelphia used 2 relief pitchers yesterday. San Diego also used 2. San Diego does have the better bullpen. They're ranked 6th here. They have one of the best bullpen ERAs. Philadelphia's is okay at 13th. Hitting-wise, like I said, both teams have been really bad. Philadelphia 28th. San Diego is now tied in last place with the Mets at 29th. Really, really ridiculous because these teams have more talent on their offense than this. So I still don't know what's going on here. Some of it might be San Diego's pitcher-friendly ballpark, but these teams aren't hitting in Philadelphia either. Lucas Giolito is pitching for San Diego. I don't think he's very good, man. 4.97 ERA, 1.74 whip. His numbers looked pretty good with the Red Sox last year, but there is a valid reason why they did not re-sign him and why nobody picked him up until a month into this season. The underlying metrics, the analytics guys do not like Giolito. They will tell you that he's not really that good of a pitcher. And once we start looking at his numbers, yeah, you'll see that. He's been really bad on the road so far, 8.22 road ERA. That's in 2 starts. His one good start was at home, and I would say good kind of with a caveat because he had a ton of walks. He's walked 3 guys or more in every outing so far. 12 walks in 12 and 2/3 innings. Is that good? Is walking one guy an inning good? No, it isn't. And he only has 6 strikeouts, and he has 10 hits allowed to go along with that. Somehow, San Diego's won all 3 of his starts. His worst start was his last time out at Washington. He got pretty much obliterated in that one. Giolito's not very good. I don't want to trust him here to try to avoid the sweep. His numbers against Philadelphia are strange. It's a big sample size, 72 at-bats, 24 strikeouts. That's pretty good. 9 walks, not so much. 208 batting average. Okay, cool. He's holding him to a really low average. Yeah, but they also have 7 home runs off him, and he's allowed an 880 OPS. These are numbers, you don't usually see numbers like this where in a big sample size, an opposing lineup has a really low batting average, but a pretty high OPS against that pitcher. Very strange. It's like he doesn't allow that many hits, but when he does, all those balls are like flying out of the ballpark. And you could argue, well, maybe that's a little bit fluky, but yeah, fluky for Lukey. Lucas Giolito, yeah, I'm not going to trust him at all here. He also has to oppose Zach Wheeler here. Which one of these pitchers is better? I don't know. Wheeler, 2.27 ERA, 0.85 whip. Wheeler is off and running after coming back from injury. He came back a little bit late this season. He's been good both home and away, very similar numbers. Had his worst start last time out against the Dodgers on the road. He gave up 4 runs against them in 6 innings. It was still a good pitching line, though. 5 hits allowed, 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He just happened to allow 4 solo home runs in the game. I'm going to give him a pass for that. It was against an elite Dodger lineup on the road. Other than that, he allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every other start. He's allowed 0 or 1 in the majority of them. We know Wheeler's good. We don't really have to go into it too much. He's got a decent strikeout rate, a low walk rate, and a really low hit rate on the season. And he has good numbers against the Padres as well. The Fathers, he's basically their daddy. 75 at-bats, 173 average, 549 OPS, 21-4 strikeout walk ratio. Again, I can't come in, even though the situation looks like it should favor San Diego. Like, how can you go 0-6 over a span of like 9 games against Philadelphia? Well, I think it's about to happen because I think I would play Philadelphia if I was going to play this game at all. San Diego does have the better bullpen, so, Philadelphia first 5 makes some sense here as well, but you're going to be looking at a really big run line if you do that. Probably ask him to be winning by possibly even 2 runs at the end of 5. Full game, the price is like in the -200s here, and the money is coming in on San Diego. I don't agree. 67% of tickets, 84% of the cash on San Diego. I know the motivation is there, but baseball is pretty heavily matchup dependent. I think the matchup is a mismatch in favor of Philadelphia. I mean, this is not the pitching matchup you want to see when you're trying to avoid a sweep. That's all I'll say. If it's somehow close later into the game, then yeah, San Diego's got a shot with their bullpen, but that is what I have to say about that. Philadelphia's favored, like I said, in the -200s range. The total's 8.5. I don't really have a good read on the total. It looks like some money sort of indicating towards the over in that game. Again, yeah, I don't have a good read on that because it seems like you have a bad starting pitcher on one side and a good one on the other. That's what I see. Baltimore at Boston. The Red Sox got the win yesterday to bounce back. We had that on the show. 8-1. I'm glad I added that because that was an easy win. Peyton Tolley, good. Chris Bassett, not good. It was kind of as simple as that. This game does not look as good for the Red Sox, though. They do still have a bullpen advantage. They only used 1 guy out of the bullpen yesterday, Watson. So their bullpen's fairly rested and still the better bullpen. Baltimore used 3 guys out of their bullpen. The Red Sox are up to 3rd in bullpen arranged by WHIP here. They also have one of the best bullpen ERAs. Pretty good. The Orioles, 22nd in bullpen. Not good. Red Sox do not have the hitting advantage, though. Baltimore, 11th. Red Sox have hit better, though, recently. They've moved up to 18th hitting. So there you go. I told you the Red Sox have a better lineup than, what they looked like early in the season at the very least. They're starting to hit at home, finally. Will they do it here? They might. This is a high total, dude. So the odds makers are expecting a lot of runs in this game. And again, Fenway Park, it's hitter-friendly, but there's no wind scenario like there is in Wrigley, because Wrigley's right on the lake. Fenway Park is not close to the water. So, yeah, there's no real, wind could be blowing out, but it's not that much of a factor in Fenway. Trevor Rogers is pitching for the Orioles. He's had a really bad season so far. 6.84 ERA, 1.56 whip. He hasn't been pitching well. He did okay last time out against Toronto. That was one of his better starts, really, but it was against a weak lineup. Red Sox lineup has actually done a little bit better than Toronto's. I still think Rogers, he's pretty untrustworthy, man. He's been really bad on the road, too. 8.59 road ERA. He pitched against the Red Sox once in Baltimore, and that was the infamous 17-1 Red Sox game where the Red Sox basically couldn't hit it all coming into that game, and then all of a sudden 17-1. So that was the game Rogers started. So was that good that the Orioles lost 17-1? I don't know, but Rogers didn't make it out of the second inning in that game. The Red Sox were able to get to him. So I think they can again here, even though if you look at his numbers, they're not as bad as you would think against them. In 37 at-bats, 270 batting average, 676 OPS, 9-3 strikeout-walk ratio. But I would still lean more towards the Red Sox hitting against Rogers here. I don't know what it is, because he was actually really good with Baltimore last year, although it surprised me because he wasn't good in his career before that, and he has not been good this year. The Red Sox are going with Brayan Bello, and it's very unfortunate that it looks like he is starting here. I would keep an eye on this because the Red Sox have been using an opener in front of him, and it's like you can't win either way. So Bello is an enigma. Well, he's not really an enigma. You can figure him out. So, we can look at his game log here. Well, first of all, he's got a 5.63 ERA, 1.64 whip. Yeah, all that is bad. We get that. He's actually been pretty good at home, though. 3.86 home ERA. So he's better at home. But you look at his game log recently. Oh, he gave up no runs in each of his last two outings. He got blasted by Atlanta the game before that, and he gave up 1 run apiece in the 2 outings before that. So, yeah, it looks like he's pitching well. He had a good month of May. Correct, he did. But what was the difference between the 4 good starts, or the 4 good appearances, and the 1 bad one? The 1 bad one against Atlanta, well, one difference is Atlanta's a way better offense than Cleveland, Minnesota, Philly, and Detroit, yes. So he struggled against a good offense. Baltimore is probably better offensively than all 4 of those other teams as well, though. So that's one thing, yes. But the other difference was Bello started that game. It's like it gets in his head, dude. So the games where he pitched well, he came in behind an opener in all 4 of them. So it's like Bello is a completely different pitcher when they put an opener in front of him. But they did this last time. He made 2 good appearances with an opener in front of him. So it was like, oh, he's fixed. They let him start. He got destroyed. Then they said, okay, let's put an opener in front of him again. And he pitched well again in those 2 outings. Now what are they? They're like, oh, he's fixed again. Let's have him start. I don't like it, man. Bello, he's only good when you put an opener in front of him. So I would keep an eye on this to see if the Red Sox are going to do that. And they might not, because the other thing about this is, yeah, even though Bello pitched well in all those games where he was the follower, and he pitched at least 5 innings in all of those games, the thing about that is the opener gave up multiple runs in every single one of those games, I'm pretty sure. So they put an opener in front of him. It was Moran in the first 3, and then Samaniego in the other one, and all of them gave up runs, including last time out. Samaniego gave up 4 runs in the first inning, and then Bello didn't give up any. He pitched the rest of the game, and the Red Sox were in too much of a hole to overcome and almost still came back. So what are we doing here, man? Dude, Bello, if he's starting this game, I would be inclined to fade him here because he has not been good when he's been starting. His only good appearances have been with an opener in front of him. But again, I would say you have to keep an eye on this game. This would not be a game where I would go action. I would say if Bello is going to have an opener in front of him, possibly you would want to lean to the Red Sox here. But it looks like that's not the case. The Red Sox are around minus 112 or so here. 58% of the tickets, 57% of the cash on the Red Sox. So if Bello is starting, I would probably have a tendency to lean against them a little bit. And yes, Bello against Baltimore, by the way, he does not have good numbers. 99 at-bats, 22 strikeouts is pretty good. 9 walks, not great. 293 batting average, 877 OPS. Bello Yeah, I mean, I think it's more likely that Bello does not do well in this game than that he does do well. And if he's starting, again, I would make sure that he's starting because for whatever reason, he's way different when he's a follower. If I was going to play this game, I think I would go over the total if Bello is definitely starting, because I think both offenses can get to both of these starting pitchers, and then you have at least one pretty bad bullpen here. The total's this high for a reason, 10.5. The odds makers do not respect either of these starters. 91% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the over, though. So the public seems to want the over, and I know Red Sox have had a lot of low-scoring home games. They haven't scored well at home, but they are recently. So, yeah, I think over is the better way to look at that if Bello is definitely starting, and you will know pretty shortly because this is an afternoon game. So, you know, I don't think they're going to switch that at this point, but you never really know. They could announce late that it is going to be an opener because, of course, everybody's there, and they would just pull somebody out of the bullpen to make the opener appearance, so whatever. What place are you at? That's not good. That sucks. It was a no bet. But wait a minute. Does that mean they don't allow you to bet on it at all? Because when I gave it out, it was undecided, right? So like, shouldn't your bet still like take that into account and just be that? Like, I don't know. I don't get that. Braves and Canes. Garrett, what's up? Are the Canes going to rebound? I will talk about that game. I don't have a play on that game, so I don't feel that strongly about it. Braves are already like hot right now, man. Cleveland at New York. This is going to be my one play, unfortunately. I'm going to go with the hated Yankees here to avoid getting swept by Cleveland because that is the situation they're in. The Yankees are the better team. They're at home. They're one of the best scoring teams at home, and they're about to get potentially swept by the Cleveland Indians. I don't think that's going to happen, and this is a pitcher that the Yankees can certainly beat up. And I would say if you want to go Yankees over their team total in this game, I think that's also an approach you could use, but I'm actually going to go with them having a pitching advantage here. So Yankees minus 1.5 on the run line at plus 130, and the rest of the bet minus 170 here. So if we look at the splits here on that, you get about a minus 117, minus 1 run line on this, and you would put, whoops, my mistake. You'd put a lot of the bet on the money line in this case, 74 of it, basically. If you're trying to win 100, 74 would wind up going on the money line, and then whatever that returns, about 44, that goes on the run line part of it, if that makes sense. So it's a split bet. So if the Yankees win by 1, it will be a push. That is what we're going with. I'm going to go with the Yankees to avoid the sweep here. I don't think there's a huge advantage bullpen-wise one way or the other. Yankees used 3 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Cleveland, I think, did have to use some of their better relievers to finish the game off, and they used 4 guys out of the bullpen. I think Gaddis is their closer right now, so they did use him 2 days in a row. So I think, if anything, Cleveland is probably at somewhat of a bullpen disadvantage here. They are ranked a little bit higher than the Yankees, 11th in bullpen, Yankees 15th. Yankees have a better bullpen ERA, though, and I think their setup is slightly better here. Yankees have the way better offense. They're number 2, and they are really good at home. Cleveland tied in 20th, so not great. And Cleveland is going with Slate Ciccone on the mound. I think we could definitely fade him. He hasn't been very good. 5.25 ERA, 1.49 whip. He's been worse on the road as well. 5.74 road ERA. So we're going to fade his home. We're going to go with his home road splits here in fading him. He's easier to fade on the road. I know Cleveland's won 4 of his 5 games across the month of May, but he didn't even pitch well in this month, really. I mean, he gave up 39 hits in 31 1/3 innings. That's not good. 4.31 ERA over the month, very mediocre. 25 strikeouts, 7 walks. Those numbers were fine, but he was having a lot of shorter appearances. He was getting roughed up a bit, so I don't think he's that good. His overall numbers on the season, it's basically the same. Too many hits. Walk rate is actually higher than it was in May, so his walk rate's kind of an issue too, and his strikeout rate is low. None of these numbers are very good, and his numbers against the Yankees are also not good. In 22 at-bats, I know it's not a huge sample here, but the Yankees, when they have faced him, they have gotten to him, although Aaron Judge, I think, is not in the lineup today, so you have to take that into account. He is 2 for 2 with a double and a home run off him, but I'm still going to go with this anyway. Judge is injured. I believe he didn't play yesterday, but I don't think he's going on the injured list. I don't even know what's going on with him. It was kind of a spur-of-the-moment thing where I think he didn't play yesterday. He got injured during the prior game, I believe. But anyway, the Yankees, including his at-bats, they have a .318 average, 1148 OPS against Ciccone. Even if you take Judge out, they still have good offensive numbers against him. So that's what we're going with here. And we're going to back Carlos Rodon here. His ERA is already pretty good again, 3.32. His whip is not that good, 1.32. He is walking too many guys right now, but he's trying to come back from injury, man. He looks like he's improving with each start. If you look at what he's done with the Yankees, he was really bad in 2023, but then the last 2 years he was pretty good with his 2 full seasons with the Yankees. So I'm expecting him to kind of be back in somewhat in form like that, basically. I'm expecting him to be pretty much back to what he was in those seasons. And again, if you look at what he's done, he's gotten better with each start. Like, he gave up 1 earned run each in his last 2 starts. His last one was his best start, where he went 6 innings. He's already up to like a full starter's pitch count here, and that was at the A's Stadium. Only gave up 1 earned run. That was a solid start in a hitter-friendly ballpark against a good offense. He held him to 4 hits, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. You'd like to see the strikeout rate have been higher, but he does have a high strikeout rate on the season, a low hit rate. The only problem is he was walking a lot of guys when he first started pitching this season, but the walk number's gone down basically with every start as well, so that's less concerning to me than it was. He's also got good numbers against Cleveland for the most part, in 106 at-bats, 236 average allowed, 700 OPS. It's not excellent, but it's still below that 750 Mendoza line, where I would say Rodon has the matchup edge against Cleveland's hitters here. 24 strikeouts, 12 walks. It's way too many walks, but when you look into it, 8 of the walks are Jose Ramirez. Ramirez has like half of the at-bats that this team has against him. And Ramirez hasn't done that well against him, really, but he has walked him a bunch. So Rodon, he can pitch around him. He's only going to have to face Ramirez so many times. So we're going to take the Yankees here. They're the better team. They're at home. I highly doubt they get swept, although obviously it's more likely now that they've lost the first 2 games, and the money seems to be not agreeing with me. Isn't that great? Yankees are in the minus 160-something range now, so you might be able to get a little bit of a better price on this. 54% of tickets on the Yankees, 77% of the cash on Cleveland. I don't get it. There's no way I would back Ciccone. But again, another way of playing this, the money is kind of indicating on the over. Totals at 8.5. I said another way that you could play this is to just take the Yankees over their team total, because I do expect them to score runs against Ciccone, plus Cleveland's unrested bullpen here. And the Yankees are a good offensive team at home. I think they're the number 1 offensive team at home. So that is what I would be looking at there. Nope, they didn't have that. That makes no sense. Dude, what book is it? I want to know. That's why you got to have more books available to you, man. But I have not seen that, actually. I don't do... I usually just do the default, the listed starters must start. So I don't do the action stuff that often. But that was one game where it was. Like, some of the books I had available definitely allowed that bet with the undecided pitcher. And when it's undecided, the default behavior is that it's okay, the listed starter has to start, but it can be anybody for the other team. I'm pretty sure that's how the default behavior is at like some of the big books there. All right, speaking of which, San Francisco at Milwaukee. These teams have they haven't split. Milwaukee's 2-1 in this series so far. So this is the final game of the series. Milwaukee finally lost a game yesterday, as I mentioned. San Francisco had the lead at the end of 5 and won in the full game capacity as well. San Francisco only used 2 guys out of the bullpen, which was good for them because they were getting shaky in the bullpen, man, and they have had some rest issues in the bullpen, so that will help that at least, although it was a save situation. Milwaukee only used Chad Patrick, though, like I said. So Milwaukee has the better bullpen. And they rested their bullpen better yesterday because they only used a long relief man. So Milwaukee does have a bullpen advantage here. They're ranked 10th in bullpen. Giants are all the way down to 24th here. I don't think they're quite as bad as that. Their ERA is better than all these teams around them, but they've definitely been struggling a bit, surprisingly. The Giants' offense had moved up. They're at 17th here, but that was somewhat because of that fluky Colorado game that they had, so I'm expecting them to come back down a bit. Milwaukee is at 20th, tied with Cleveland, who I already mentioned, and with Arizona, who is playing today as well. Do with that information what you want. This starting pitching matchup is not exactly elite. Adrian Hauser is pitching for the Giants, 5.59 ERA, 1.56 whip. Those are bad numbers. He's better on the road, though, 4.79 road ERA. Again, makes no sense with San Francisco being a pitcher-friendly ballpark. I don't know why he's worse at home, but that's been the case so far. Coming off a bad outing, but it was at Coors Field, so maybe you don't put that much stock into that. But the fact that he has a 19-11 strikeout walk ratio through the month of, that's in the month of May, that's what he posted. That's not good. Even though he had a 3.81 ERA, that's too many walks in 26 innings, though he only allowed 25 hits. He's not a huge strikeout guy, but his walk rate is just too high. His hit rate over the course of the season is also too high, and his strikeout rate is definitely low, so he's not really fooling anybody. I don't think Hauser is very good. Milwaukee hasn't really seen much of him, though. They have 4 hitters who have faced him before, 6 at-bats, no strikeouts, 1 walk, 333 average, 1333 OPS, and Sanchez has a home run off him. I don't even know what to do with these numbers. I know he's not that familiar to Milwaukee, but he's been around for a long time. I don't think Milwaukee is going to have that much of an issue getting something off of him here. That would be my my guess here. And as far as Hauser, though, he might get a little bit more up for this game because Milwaukee was where he spent most of his career, but I'm assuming he's pitched against them since then because he hasn't been on that team since 2023. So a lot of times that first game that you pitch against your former team, you get really up for it, but I think he's already done that. But still, maybe he gets a little bit extra motivation here facing the team that he spent most of his career with. Coleman Crowe, who I thought was going to get the pitching duties yesterday, is going today for the Brewers. 3.14 ERA, 0.98 whip. Those are good numbers. I think he's only pitched on the road so far, but he hasn't gone deep really into these outings. His overall numbers, he doesn't strike out a lot of guys. He hasn't put a lot of guys on base either, though. Low walk rate, low hit rate, hasn't allowed that many runs in any of his outings. But I still don't know if I want to trust him. If you look at his scouting reports and whatever, he's basically his scouting reports projected him to be what Milwaukee has him doing, which is a spot starter / long relief type of guy. So that's what he is. I don't think he's great, but he's been decent for them so far. He's facing a Giants lineup that I don't think is very good, and they haven't seen him before. So Crowe might have a little bit of an advantage here. I'll probably lean to Milwaukee in this one. I think they do have some advantages here. The money is not agreeing with me on that one either. 67% of tickets on Milwaukee, 72% of the cash on San Francisco. I don't know, man. A lot of that has to do with the price, though. So I could see the argument, I guess. Milwaukee at minus 180 something or whatever. Does Crowe deserve to be that big of a favorite? Maybe not, so maybe that's the argument that the price tag is just too high on Milwaukee, but I think they should win this game. I think they have too many advantages here. The money looks like it's pretty strongly indicating towards an over here. I might not disagree. 50-50 on the tickets, 90% of the cash on the over. The total's 9. Hauser, like I said, I think he's going to have some issues here. Even though he's been a little bit better on the road, he hasn't pitched well. But I don't know if I quite want to do that. Of course, that freaked me out. Of course, ad block comes back. That was in my Chrome browser, though, so that was not on my shared screen, but that really freaked me out because it came in behind. It came up over StreamYard, so that's great. Yeah, I don't think I have too much else. I agree with an over here generally, but this is a hard game to figure out, man. Crowe could pitch well here. Hauser could potentially pitch well here, too, so I don't really want to do that either. Total is 9, so it is kind of high for a reason, but yeah, I want nothing to do with that game. It's pretty unpredictable. Yankees team total is 4.5 minus 118. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I mean, that seems pretty reasonable to me, really. I asked him to get 5 runs in that game. That seems okay to me. I mean, that is a way that you could play it. All right. And then they could potentially still lose the game and still get that, right? They scored 4 runs in each of the first 2 games. Scoring 5 is obviously not that big of an ask with an offense like that. And and those other 2 games, they had to face better pitchers too. Cantillo's not great, but they faced Gavin Williams yesterday. Ciccone is a lot worse than Gavin Williams. All right, Toronto at Atlanta for Garrett here. Atlanta's trying to get a sweep here, so they might overlook Toronto a little bit after beating them in both games here. But who does Atlanta play next? Well, they play Pittsburgh. Maybe they do look ahead to that. Pittsburgh's been having a good season, so maybe Atlanta does look ahead to that. It's a National League game. Pretty big weekend series, you know. So maybe they do look ahead to that. I think they might have to face Skeens during that series as well. So it's interesting. Not tomorrow, they don't, though. Because Skeens pitched the other day. Toronto has not listed a starter yet for this game. I went back and I looked, and 5 games ago, Toronto went with a total bullpen game. Toronto's got too many issues right now, man. Dylan Cease went on the DL, so I don't know if this is his spot or one of the other spots, but they got rid of Eric Lauer, you know. Toronto's got some issues here, and if they're going with a bullpen game here, which they did 5 games ago, that might be an issue, although they've had a couple of okay bullpen games this year, but I don't know if this is going to be one of them against a good offense. Atlanta used 3 relief pitchers yesterday. They have the better bullpen. Toronto also used 3. I actually think Toronto did actually list Fluharty as the opener here. He's not actually a starter. He's coming out of the bullpen, so he's going to be an opener here. He's probably going to go maybe 1+ innings here. So it looks like it's going to be a full bullpen game for Toronto, which I wouldn't trust that. I don't love their bullpen. Atlanta's number 1 in bullpen in both WHIP and ERA. Toronto is 12th. I mean, their bullpen's not awful, but you're going to be getting their mediocre bullpen for an entire game against the 3rd-ranked Braves offense. Toronto's offense is not good. They're 26th, so they've really had issues. And they're having to go up against Chris Sale, which makes matters even worse. Sale is having another good season, 2.01 ERA, 0.94 WHIP. He's been elite at home, a 0.6 home ERA. Ridiculous. He's been good all season. He's allowed more than 2 earned runs only once in a weird outlier start at Anaheim. He's got a high strikeout rate, pretty low walk rate, low hit rate. All of his numbers are good. We get it. Had a good month of May as well. Had some tough offenses that he faced in there too. Dodgers, Cubs, did well against those teams. We get it. He's an elite pitcher. Possibly in the Cy Young conversation, but I don't think he's going to get it because there's too much competition in the NL. You know, Sanchez and I don't know how Sanchez wound up doing really well again yesterday, didn't he? Because they won the game again. But yeah, Sanchez, Skeens, Mizurowski, you got to deal with all those guys. Sale does have good numbers against Toronto. They only have 5 guys who have faced him, though. Springer has the majority of the at-bats. 30 out of the 48 at-bats are him, and 11 of them are Vlad Guerrero. But overall, they have a 229 team average against him, 677 OPS, 17 strikeouts, and 5 walks. So, I think Sale likely pitches well again here against a struggling offense that doesn't do well against them and hasn't not even, all of their hitters haven't even faced Sale before. So, I don't want to fade Atlanta here. I mean, they have too many matchup advantages in this game. They're around minus 200. The total's low, 7.5. Atlanta does have some issues scoring at home. They're a better offensive team on the road for whatever reason. Still, I mean, I think Atlanta wins the game. Minus 200 is a pretty big ask, though. You're not going to get any value playing the team with the best record in baseball with their Hall of Fame pitcher on the mound. So I don't think I would do that either. But, if you want to do some money line parlaying with Atlanta in one, I guess you could do that. But again, situationally, I don't really want them because they're looking for a sweep here, and I usually avoid those teams at the very least. So I don't know. I'm avoiding that game though. But Atlanta has too many matchup edges. I expect them to win the game, but we'll see. Kind of like what I said with Philly. Kansas City at Minnesota. This is a new series that's starting. Minnesota is staying at home, I believe. Yeah, they just faced the White Sox. They lost 8-0 yesterday. They won the series, but they got shut out yesterday. A lot of times when a team gets shut out at home, they will bounce back and do better in the next game. They have Kansas City coming in from Cincinnati. Not a terrible travel spot here. Kansas City was able to break their losing streak, and they actually won the series against Cincinnati. I know Cincinnati early in the season hadn't lost a series pretty deep into the season. I'm pretty sure they have since then, though. And, of course, they did lose that one against Kansas City. But Kansas City seems to be at least playing a little bit less Kansas shitty recently. They still have a very bad bullpen, though. They only used 2 guys out of the bullpen yesterday, but Kansas City's bullpen is bad. Minnesota's is also bad, though, and they used 4 guys out of the bullpen. So this may be a series where we might be looking for some overs here because these bullpens are that bad. Minnesota's 27th. Kansas City is dead last, 30th. But Houston's still got the worst bullpen ERA, so I always have to just make fun of Houston's bullpen, man. Kansas City's offense hasn't been good either. They're 27th. Minnesota's been a bit better than that. Minnesota is, where are they at? Actually, they've fallen way down. They're 23rd, so these offenses actually have been struggling. Seth Lugo is pitching for Kansas City. I still think he's a decent pitcher. You know, the advanced analytics guys really don't like him. 3.55 ERA. His whip is a little bit high, 1.35, so I don't love that. He's been good on the road this year, 2.7 road ERA, and that's where he is today. He had a nice outing last time out. He's actually had a few pretty good outings in a row after he had a couple of rough ones. He pitched pretty well against Boston, Seattle, both of those at home, and then on the road against Texas. I know Boston and Texas, not elite lineups, and Texas, very pitcher-friendly ballpark, but he's still strung together a few good starts, so he's in better form right now. Over the month of May, though, he did have too many walks, 12 walks, 29 strikeouts in 33 and a third innings, and too many hits allowed, 40. So, yeah, I don't know. I still don't love the overall May numbers there, but his last 3 starts were definitely better than that, and his walk rate went down as well, and his hit rate went down a bit as well. Over the course of the season, he's allowed a little bit more than 1 hit per inning, which isn't great. His walk rate isn't really that high, though, and his strikeout rate is about what you expect. He's not a huge strikeout guy, and he's fairly old now. Lugo against Minnesota, they've seen a lot of him because he's been in their division. As I click on the wrong team here. He's not great against Minnesota, and 68 at bats, 294 average allowed. 706 OPS isn't that bad, though. So they have a lot of singles against him. 13 strikeouts, 3 walks, but they do hit him for contact. I don't know if I really trust Lugo here. He is in better form right now, though, and his OPS against here is still pretty low, so he might put in a decent outing here. And Minnesota looks like they're going with a bullpen game because they have Andrew Morris listed as the starter. He's young. He's 24, so I don't know if they're going to try to convert him into a starter, but his numbers are not good. 4.07 ERA, 1.52 whip. I would not trust that. He hasn't pitched that much, but he's made almost entirely relief appearances here. He's allowed more than 1 hit per inning. His walk rate's not great. His strikeout rate is decent, but the fact that he's putting that many guys on base in relief appearances, that's not good. Yeah, I don't love that here. And Morris, I don't know how much we need to dig into his numbers against KC, but they actually haven't seen him before. But I still don't trust this. I think we're looking at a bullpen game for Minnesota here. And I looked, and this would be Bailey Ober's turn in the rotation. He's on the DL now, so I think that's what we got going on with Minnesota. They're basically forced into a bullpen game here that's not really planned because Ober is now hurt. So that's not good. So I think I would lean over in this game. I don't quite want to do it. I mean, the offenses are struggling. Lugo, I think, could put together an okay outing here. The money's indicating on Minnesota. I would tell you I wouldn't do that. 69% of tickets, 92% of the cash on Minnesota. There's no way I can back a bullpen game with one of the worst bullpens in baseball. I'm sorry, but I just can't do that. Even though Minnesota looks like they should be in a bounce back spot after yesterday's shutout loss that they had. Kansas City is actually favored at around minus 113 or so here. So the odds makers are kind of telling you that they would trust Lugo fairly significantly over a Minnesota bullpen game. Over is getting some money, 87% of tickets, 92% of the cash. Totals at 9, juice to the over. If you're going to go over here, I would try to do that and not let it get to 9.5 because 9 is a key number. 4-4 tie needs to be broken, so it's a lot better to go over 9 than 9.5 because you need another run if you go 9.5. So on that key number there. Over 9, like if I was going to play that game, I think I would probably do that, though. Over 9 is probably my preferred way to play that game, but I don't want to do it. The A's at the Cubs. Cubs are on the verge of getting swept by an American League team at home, really. Now, the Cubs have lost each game by 1 run, and they lost in extra innings yesterday, so they could have won both games. We did have a winner on A's first 5 in the first game of the series. That was a rough situation with the Cubs returning home from a road trip. So that's part of the reason why I did that. But I thought the Cubs would bounce back. They didn't yesterday. You got to think they bounce back here with Imanaga on the mound, right? Imanaga is one of their best starters. You got to think that they come motivated and avoid the sweep. And that was kind of where I started this handicap. I liked the Cubs. And you look like you're getting kind of a cheap number on the Cubs here because they're not playing good baseball right now. I think they're still better than the A's, and they're at home trying to avoid a sweep. Looks like you might want the Cubs here. The A's, by the way, have Houston next, so I don't know if they're going to look ahead to that, but it is a divisional series that they have against Houston next. As far as the bullpens, I think Chicago has the better bullpen here, the Cubs. The A's used a lot of their relief pitchers because it was an extra inning game. They used 6 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. That is not what you want to see when you already have a pretty questionable bullpen. Cubs also used a lot. They used 7 guys, actually. But their bullpen is a little bit better, so I think they do have a bullpen advantage here, even though both bullpens are unrested after yesterday. Cubs are number 8 in bullpen. A's are 19th. Offenses have both been pretty good. Cubs are 8th, A's are 9th. JT Ginn is going for the A's, though, and he's actually been pretty good. 2.87 ERA, 1.14 whip. He's better outside of that horrible A's stadium, which makes sense because, again, it's a hitter-friendly ballpark. So his road ERA, 2.08, is a lot better. He's been good on the road. He's coming off allowing no earned runs in 6 innings against the Yankees. But he has walked too many guys. He had a solid month of May, though, 2.6 ERA, only 24 hits allowed in 34 2/3 innings. That was good, but he also walked 17 guys. That's not good. His walk rate actually was interesting because 11 of those walks came in 2 outings, on the road against San Diego and at home against Cleveland. So if you take those out, his walk rate went way down. So it's like his walks are all just kind of in spurts, and his walk rate hasn't been as bad over the course of the season. So it's like it's all or nothing with him. It's like he comes in, he either walks a ton of guys or he doesn't walk anybody. So I don't know. Or walks like one guy. I don't know. It's kind of ridiculous. He did have 33 strikeouts over those 34 2/3 innings as well. Ginn is a little bit hard to figure out. He's allowed really few hits this season. His walk rate is not good, like I said, but that's a lot of it is because he's had like 4 starts or 3 starts where he's had really high walk numbers. And his strikeout rate is not that high, but he's not really a strikeout pitcher. The A's have won the majority of his outings this year, which is pretty good. So overall, I think Ginn actually is good, but these walk numbers do worry me for sure. His numbers against the Cubs, they only have 4 at-bats against him. Only Bregman and Kelly have ever faced him. Bregman has the only hit, a single, and has a walk off him, and Kelly has a strikeout. But that's it. So Ginn is pretty unfamiliar to the Cubs, so that might be a little bit of an extra advantage to him because they haven't faced him. I know he's going up against Shota Imanaga, who is good and is better than his ERA makes him look. 4.37 ERA. I know that's not good. He's had a couple of questionable starts here recently, though. 1.07 whip, that's not bad. Imanaga's good, though. We've seen what he can do at the major league level. He's been here for a few years now. At some point, he's going to be, I think, back to what he once was. But he's been a little bit worse at home, 4.57 home ERA. He had one start where he got tagged by Milwaukee, but I told you going into that game, his matchup numbers were horrible. Like, he specifically does really bad against Milwaukee. I don't know why. And then after that, he did give up a bunch of runs to Houston, but he had good command numbers in that game, so I think he got a little bit unlucky. But he followed that up with another pretty rough outing against St. Louis. So I don't know. He's not really in good form right now. He's allowing a lot of home runs right now, which is definitely concerning, even though he had a 31-9 strikeout walk ratio during the month of May, which is good. So his command numbers were right there. But the number of home runs, so I do think he's still getting unlucky, though, in the month of May. And the Cubs lost 4 starts in a row of his. But he faced capable offenses in all 4 of them. I think at some point he is going to bounce back. He's obviously nowhere near as bad as he's been pitching recently, but you have to kind of figure out when is he going to come back into form, and is it going to start in this game? Because the A's are a decent offense, too. I'm not so sure. His overall numbers are good, by the way. Way fewer than 1 hit per inning, almost 1 strikeout per inning. His walk rate's pretty low. His home run rate is high, but again, that's because of those most recent starts where he gave up a ton. It might not come here, though. His bounce back might not come here because the A's have 19 at-bats against him, and they hit 316 off him with a 947 OPS. So I was thinking I might wind up playing the Cubs here, but that's not going to happen. His matchup numbers just aren't good enough. Imanaga, recent form worries me. 6 strikeouts, no walks over those at-bats, by the way, for whatever that's worth. I can't really deal with it, man. I mean, in this game, the money's coming in on the Cubs. 52% of tickets, 64% of the cash on them. They're around minus 134 or so here. Yeah, they should be motivated. They're trying to avoid the sweep here. The total's pretty high, 10.5, which indicates wind is blowing out here. That might not be good for Imanaga, right? Because he's allowing too many home runs. You do not want, if you're him right now, you do not want to have a wind blowing out game in Wrigley, and that looks like that's what this is, because there's no way this total would be that high otherwise with this pitching matchup. So wind is blowing out here. I don't know. It might sound kind of insane, but I might go with A's over their team total here, because I don't know if I would want to take them to win the game, but it looks like it's going to be a high-scoring game. Imanaga's not in good form right now. He's got bad matchup numbers against the A's. The A's could put up enough of team total here to do that and still not even win the game. They're the underdog here, so you're asking them to probably get to 5 there. It's doable, I think, in that game. So I don't know. That might be what I would do in that game. I don't know, man. It's a tough game to actually handicap, so I'm skipping the game, obviously. Tuomas, what's up, man? I still don't know how to pronounce it. I should, because I'm part Scandinavian. So Sjogren, I can pronounce that a little bit better. There you go. What's up? Let's get some money. I only have one play today. Like I said, it is the Yankees split bet run line, money line. Pittsburgh at Houston continues. This is a Fox Sports 1 game. So this is the only national TV game here for whatever reason. It's been a high-scoring series, though. I mean, it looks like it could be an over series when you have 2 bullpens that aren't very good like this and 2 offenses that are more than capable. And, yeah, it's definitely been an over series. Each team has won 1 game. Both games have been really high-scoring. Houston, they used most of their bullpen yesterday. They used, 5 guys out of the bullpen. That's not good. Pittsburgh used 4. Was that an extra inning game? No, it wasn't, but it was 11-9 Houston with the win yesterday. And Pittsburgh, I think, won the first game of the series 10-6. Some real high-scoring affairs here. The bullpens are bad. Houston is ranked 26th, but they have the worst bullpen ERA. Pittsburgh, not very good either at 18th. I would not trust either bullpen, especially with the lack of rest here. The offenses have been good. Pittsburgh is number 4. Houston, number 7. So, again, that is looking like this could be an over game. But the starting pitching, to me, doesn't really look like it's an over starting pitching matchup. Jared Jones is making his 2nd start after having an entire season missed with an injury. He's going for Pittsburgh here. I know his numbers look bad. 10.38 ERA, 2.08 whip. I would not put much weight into that, though, because he's trying to come back from injury. I gave out the under in the first 5 in his first game back, and it didn't work out. He wasn't great in the game against Minnesota, but I think he is going to get better as he works his way back. You know what I mean? He was good in 2024, his first season in the majors as a rookie. His numbers are pretty solid for a rookie campaign, so I think Jones is good, and I think at some point he is going to bounce back. Had a rough outing against Minnesota, but he did have 6 strikeouts and 2 walks, so command numbers were not that bad there. But he got hit around for 7 hits in 4 1/3 innings, 5 earned runs. And I know he's facing a Houston lineup that is pretty difficult to go up against, but they haven't seen Jones before. So I think Jones is going to improve off of that start. He's got that 1 start under his belt. Might have been a little bit shaky. His first start back in the majors is still a young guy. He's 24, Might have been shaky for that reason after not pitching in the majors for a year. I think we're going to see him start pitching better. He's got that game under his belt. Houston's unfamiliar with him, so he might be able to pitch well here, although Minnesota was as well. Only Paredes has ever faced him before, and he's 0 for 4 with a strikeout and 2 walks against him. But generally, yeah, he's completely unfamiliar to Houston. Kaiwei Tang is getting the start for Houston. He's actually been good, although keep in mind a lot of these numbers came in relief appearances. 2.57 ERA, 1.1 whip. He's been pretty solid. He's got the same ERA home and away, which is crazy. He's actually been pretty good since they converted him to a starter, too. He's gone 5 or more innings in each of his starts here. Actually, how many starts does he have? One of those might have been a shorter start. No, he's got 5 starts, but in his last 3 starts, he's gone a little bit deeper, and he's been reasonably good here, except his walk numbers have been bad. That's kind of the problem. So he's gone 16 innings across 3 starts here. He's only allowed 3 earned runs, which is good. He's only allowed 7 hits across that span, which is also really good. But he's had 11 walks, which is a huge problem. And he's got 20 strikeouts, so that's good. The amount of strikeouts is good. But the amount of walks is definitely concerning. Numbers against Pittsburgh, he basically doesn't have any. Only O'Hearn has ever faced him before. 2 for 3 with a strikeout. This is a difficult game to handicap, man, but I kind of lean towards both starting pitchers actually doing okay here. The money looks like it's kind of indicating towards the over, and I think if you're going to go over here, you got to go full game with it to take advantage of these awful bullpens. 55% of the tickets, 57% of the cash on the over here. Totals at 8.5 for the full game. That's not a high total given how bad these bullpens are, though, and how capable these offenses are, which is kind of indicating to me the odds makers do think the starting pitching might be decent here. So I think you could go under first 5 in this game. That might be the way I would lean if I was going to do anything with this game, would be first 5 under. I don't really want to do it, obviously. I mean, there are some question marks here. The money is also backing Houston for what that's worth. 75% of tickets, 80% of the cash on them. Because I know I'm fading the market with my Yankee play. They're at around minus 110 here. So do with that info what you want. It's basically a pick the winner in that game. Then we have Dodgers-Arizona finishing their series. Arizona is trying to avoid getting... Oh, no, they're not getting swept. They won the first game of the series. My mistake. Then the Dodgers took the last 2, including beating Arizona 7-0 yesterday. Although, I talk about it. When a team gets shut out at home, a lot of times they bounce back with a better effort in the next game. Arizona may be able to do that here. They're not a horrible team, but they did use 4 guys out of the bullpen yesterday. Dodgers only used 2. Dodgers have the better bullpen. They're ranked number 2. Arizona is 4, though. Arizona's ERA still not that great out of the bullpen, but their bullpen's been at least decent, I would say. But Dodgers have the better one and more rest. Dodgers are number 1 in offense. Arizona is number 20, so they've fallen back. They're tied with Cleveland and Minnesota, as I mentioned earlier. Dodgers are going with Justin Robleski, who continues to pitch pretty well, even though he's not a guy that goes in and blows people away. I don't really know exactly how he's doing this, but he is pitching effectively. 2.87 ERA, 1.01 whip. He's been slightly better on the road. 4, that wouldn't be that good. 2.79 road ERA. But he's pitching in Arizona here. Arizona is a more hitter-friendly ballpark, so we'll see what he can do here. Robleski, he's coming off a decent month of May where he had fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning, 29 and 32 2/3 innings. 25 strikeouts, 5 walks. All those numbers were good, so it indicates his 4.13 ERA that month actually should have been better than that. So he hasn't really fallen off, and he's coming off a good outing against Philly. 1 hit them through 7 innings, though the 1 hit was a home run. But 9 strikeouts, no walks. That was an awesome outing against Philadelphia. And he did it only throwing 88 pitches, so I don't think he's really going to be in a tired spot, letdown spot, whatever. He's doing pretty well, even though his strikeout rate is low. His hit rate is also low. His walk rate is also pretty low. So I don't know. I don't know how he's doing it without being a strikeout pitcher, but that's what he's doing. Arizona has 12 at-bats against him across 4 hitters, and they have hit him well. 500 average, 1155 OPS, 1 strikeout, 2 walks. So Wrobleski has not done well against Arizona's few hitters who have seen him, but I would not put that much weight into that small of a sample size. Arizona's going with Ryan Nelson, who has not been that bad this season, although his ERA is getting higher. 4.82 ERA. His whip is still not bad, though. 1.19. He's been worse at home, though. 5.97 home ERA, so he pitches worse in this hitter-friendly stadium. He just got tagged for 4 home runs on the road at Seattle last time out, so that's not a great sign that he's allowing a bunch of home runs in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Over the month, he had a 2.95 ERA in May, which was good. 31 strikeouts, 31 strikeouts. That would be pretty good. 28 strikeouts, still pretty good. Actually, no, I mean, that's not that high because it was 39 and 2/3 innings pitched. But whatever, 31 hits allowed, not too bad. 8 walks, also not too bad. So his numbers over the month actually weren't that bad. So he pitched pretty well for the most part in May. His overall numbers are not horrible. Fewer than 1 hit per inning. His walk rate is not too bad. His strikeout rate's a bit low. His problem is he's an extreme fly ball pitcher, and he's allowed 15 home runs. That might not be great in this stadium here. And I think that's been part of the reason why he hasn't been good at home. Well, he's actually allowed kind of an even number of home runs home and away, though. But being a fly ball pitcher isn't that great in a stadium like this, which is why I was pretty surprised that Nelson pitched as well as he did last year with Arizona. The other big surprise is that Nelson is actually good against the Dodgers. They have 98 at-bats against him, 23 strikeouts, 11 walks. That is way too many walks. But he's held him to a 194 batting average and 630 OPS. I bet you didn't expect that. So Nelson has actually pitched well against the Dodgers. I mean, it kind of sounds crazy, but I might lean Arizona here. Dodgers are public. They're around minus 130 something here. The money seems like it's kind of knocking that money line down a little bit from where it opened. 65% of tickets, 65% of the cash on the Dodgers. Total here is 9. I could see the argument for an under here somewhat, that both pitchers might actually pitch okay here. But you might be able to grab Arizona as a decent-sized dog here. Maybe I would only do it in the first 5, though, because I do think they have a bullpen disadvantage here. But they're going to come out probably with motivation to try to avoid the sweep here. You're getting them as a dog here in a pitching matchup that is not really a mismatch, I would say. So, I think it's a little bit more of a I think the game's a little bit closer to a toss-up than maybe the odds makers are lining it. Although, yes, of course, like I said, the Dodgers do have the better bullpen. They do have the better offense. You might be able to argue Wrobleski's the better starter, too, but I think there are some indicators that Arizona as a dog might make some sense there. All right, WNBA, we have 2 games here. These are part of the Commissioner's Cup still. Amazon Prime is where these games are at. Nobody's going to watch it, though. Even though these are actually decent matchups by WNBA standards. Atlanta at Indiana is the first game up, and people are going to look at this, well, Atlanta's 6-2, Indiana's 4-4, so why would you want to take Indiana as a small favorite here, right? Well, that's exactly why I would probably lean that way, because you're looking at the odds makers are telling you Atlanta's the slightly better team here, but that it's really close, and not to buy into these records too much. Indiana's coming off a game that was embarrassing enough that everybody's talking about what are they doing. They just lost at Portland and gave up 100 points to Portland. Indiana's given up 100 points 3 times this season, although one of them was an overtime game, and one was the first game of the season, but still, that's not good. But, dude, I think they got to fire their coach. It seems like their coach is intentionally benching Caitlin Clark. I don't know what's going on. She's not giving Caitlin Clark the minutes that she absolutely should be getting. And, I think when Clark gets more minutes, the team tends to play significantly better. Clark is good. I don't know what's going on. A lot of people are blaming Clark for this. It's not her fault. I think she only got, I don't know. She didn't get that many minutes in this game against Portland, I'm pretty sure. So there's something going on here where it seems like the coach has a grudge against Clark. Yeah, she only played 22 minutes. What excuse is there? You as a coach, even though Clark didn't shoot well in the game, I get that. She had 6 assists, though, so she was still not a non-factor in that game. If you as a coach, what are you doing if you have your best player only going 22 minutes in the game. It just doesn't make any sense, dude. And Indiana's a pretty deep team. They got Sophie Cunningham coming off the bench. They got Boston, Mitchell. These are pretty decent players here. So Indiana's better than the record looks. Again, I think the coach needs to be fired. I think she has a grudge against Caitlin Clark for whatever reason. I won't exactly say what that reason is, but I think you might know what it is. It has to do with I won't even say it, but you know what I mean. Now, Indiana, they're coming off that embarrassing loss, too, so I think this should be a decent spot for them, but they are returning home from the road, so that's a little bit of a concern. I don't like teams returning home from road trips. They were on the road for a week. They went out to the Pacific Coast, so I don't really want to play on Indiana for that reason, but it is the Cup. They're coming off an embarrassing loss where everybody's talking about how embarrassing they are. The line looks a little misleading, so I think I would kind of lean Indiana here, but I don't want to make it a play. Atlanta's probably going to be focused, too. They're coming off an easy win over Connecticut in a return home spot. Connecticut is awful. And then Atlanta is now going back out on the road here. Kind of a short trip for them to Indiana. I think Atlanta might show up focused as well. I'm going to lean slightly towards Indiana. You could lay the 1.5 or take like a money line or something, but I don't want to play the game. And then Golden State, Minnesota is a pretty good game. These teams are both good. I don't believe that Minnesota has Collier back yet because I think they'd be a heavier favorite than this if they did. Let me see here. I think soon, though, they actually pushed her timetable back, so that's not good. But Minnesota's still playing pretty well even without her. This is a good Minnesota team, but Golden State is also good this season. They're definitely a team that's on the rise. We were able to get some good spots with them last season. I don't like that I'm now 5-2 in the WNBA after starting out 5-0, man. Golden State is also coming off beating Portland, Kind of an easy win there, going out on the road. You got to expect they will be focused here against Minnesota. It's a big game. This is a chance for Golden State to prove themselves against one of the teams that's kind of one of the elite teams in the WNBA, right? Because if you're Golden State, you're a new team, up and coming, kind of. They were a new team last year or maybe the year before that or whatever. Minnesota won the regular season title last year. They were the number 1 seed before Collier went down. They got upset in the playoffs, whatever. Minnesota, they're a team that a lot of teams are going to have their sights set on. And Minnesota, even without Collier, 7-2 so far this season. They're hot right now. They've won 5 games in a row. They just annihilated Phoenix, put up 111 points. But as I pointed out with my Phoenix play last night, Minnesota definitely could regress after a game like that where they shot over 60% from the field, 50-something% from 3. You got to think there's going to be some regression from Minnesota coming off of that. And they're returning home from the road. They went to Chicago and Phoenix. They were on the road for almost a week coming back home. So I would probably lean Golden State here slightly. Not one that's going to make my card or anything, but I think Golden State might have a little bit more motivation for a game like this in the Cup where, Minnesota's just kind of been here, done that. Like, hey, we've already won the regular season title before, whatever. Golden State might have a little bit more motivation here, plus the spot with Minnesota, coming off they could be in a huge regression spot, coming off a major outlier shooting performance and returning home from the road. So I would prefer Golden State there. I think that's probably the better of the two plays today now that I kind of think about it, the better of the options in the WNBA, but I'm not going to have a WNBA play in those games. Not strong enough, in my opinion. Then we do have the NHL, Vegas and Carolina. Vegas was able to win. They were down 2-0 early in the game and wound up winning the game. They played well, though. So there are some indicators here where I don't really want to jump on Carolina, even though in a lot of cases with these series, you want to jump on the home team after they lost game 1 because it's like, well, if they lose game 2, they're really, really in a tough spot, right? Because they're going to have to go out on the road. Vegas is better at home, and Carolina has not played in Vegas since October. They haven't been on the Pacific Coast for a long. They haven't left like the Eastern time zone for quite a while. So that's going to be tough for Carolina to make that trip. So if they're down 0-2, pretty good chance Carolina's not going to win the series if they go down 0-2 here. So yes, Carolina should be here motivated. That's one of the reasons why you do want to play on the home favorite if they lost game 1. I don't want to do it in this game, though. They're a little bit heavier of a favorite. That wouldn't really stop me, but looking at the box score is going to stop me a little bit. Now, I did see some stat that Vegas was like one of the only teams to overcome a multi-goal deficit in a finals game or something like that. But I'm like, but that doesn't seem that weird, right? Like, they were down 2-0 really early. Like, that doesn't seem like something that, I mean, I know it doesn't happen that often, but that seems like something that would happen often enough. Overcoming a deficit like that, I don't know. Because Vegas quickly was right back in the game. And in fact, they wound up taking the lead and then never trailed again after that. It was a crazy game, crazy finish. Now, if we look at the game, though, Carolina did outshoot Vegas 29-23, but Vegas won the physicality battle here. They won the faceoffs slightly, but they also had 35-26 hit advantage. So that would worry me a little bit with playing Carolina here, because you want to see Carolina be a more intense defensive team. And I think Vegas kind of wants to turn these games into more shootouts, because I think they're a little bit more offensive minded than Carolina is. Carolina plays a lot of kind of slow games where they play defense and whatever. And that didn't really work out for them. And Anderson obviously did not have a good game. He's been really good throughout the playoffs, except for that one period against Montreal. But he wasn't good in this game for Carolina. I mean, Vegas had 23 shots, and they got 5 goals past Anderson. That's not good. That's not a good sign for Carolina. Carter Hart was better, and a lot of times you want that hotter goalie. I think Hart might have been a little bit extra motivated because, of course, there's that whole stupidity. I've already talked about it on the show, where all the Carolina fans in the arena are all, shouting "no" means no and calling him a rapist and whatever, which is, I don't know if we're allowed to say that on YouTube. Maybe we're not. But calling him that, the R word, not the R word, the other R word. But I think it's just untrue, man, because, again, if you know anything about the case, it seemed like it was just a night of drunken stupidity amongst young people. The chick regretted it. She's unnamed, and the judge threw her case out. The judge found her to not be credible. She changed her story. Sounds like a very typical, like, Me Too type of story. So all this stuff against Carter Hart, I think it's stupid. So whatever. But he had a better goaltending game in that game, even though he did allow 4 goals, but it was on a larger amount of shots. So neither goalie was great, but Anderson really kind of had a drop-off in that game, and maybe that's a concern. Maybe he bounces back, though. I don't know, but I don't want to play the game. If I was going to play the game, I would have liked to have seen Carolina with more dominant stats there. Like, Carolina dominated that series against Montreal statistically. Even in the close games, it was dominance from Carolina in almost every game. That wasn't the case in this game 1 against Vegas, man. Maybe Vegas's experience is starting to show here, because that's the other thing. Carolina, I think as far as like their players and whatever, they haven't really been exactly like right here before. Vegas has more, I think, championship pedigree on their roster. So that's the other thing here. Now, I would lean to Carolina slightly still, though. 65% of tickets, 78% of the cash on Carolina. I'm still going to lean that way slightly. The money is agreeing with it. You're paying more for it, though. They were like minus 155 in game 1, and now they're minus 160 something here. So if you want to do it, you kind of have to split the bet, like puck line, money line, whatever. Or you could just go money line. It's the playoffs. I know it's a hefty price, though. I don't want to do it, man. The price might be a little bit too hefty, even though you're going to get a motivated effort out of them, I think, at the very least. Because you can't go down 0-2 in the first 2 home games, man. That's what I'll say. But there are some aspects of that first game that don't look good for Carolina. I will say that. So we'll see what happens. But that is going to do it, man. That's the show today. Thursday show for you. We have one play. Short and sweet, I guess, at least as far as my shows go. We're going against the market apparently now, but we're going to have the Yankees here to avoid the sweep. Unfortunately, I have to play the Yankees. She squealed if he's out there. Sorry, I apologize. I'm being a dick. She squealed. I'm being a dick to everybody, I think. I apologize to him and to who else is out there? Gerald. Yeah, you don't have to tell me what book it is. I mean, you could do it in private if you want, whatever, just because I'm kind of interested, because the books seem to be doing that differently, so I don't know. Baseball is a whole different world, man, the baseball handicapping. But yes, so you're going with the Yankees here. I think the listed starters here shouldn't be an issue. If I don't say otherwise, usually I'm saying that we're going to go with the listed starters here. That is the case here. I assume they're both going to start. And of course, if one of them winds up not starting, just like with Burns the other day, it's going to be a no play for us here. But we're going split bet Yankees, partially on the run line at plus 130, partially on the money line at minus 170. Most of the bet goes on the money line in this case, and you get the price down a little bit to about minus 117. So I think they'll be able to do it against probably the least of Cleveland's pitchers here, Slate, Ciccone. The Yankees should be able to get to him at least. And I'll actually put some stock in Rodon here as well. So we're going with the Yankees. That's going to do it. I'll be back at some point, at least tomorrow with tomorrow's usual show. Learn to Toad on Twitter. You can support me there if you want to. You get into group chat. Not really active, though. Jeffrey needs to come back to this show to watching it, man. But go check that out. Learn to Toad on Twitter. Learn to Toad on Instagram for the short form of this. I think we have an afternoon game today, so our day is going to be over quickly. And I got to get that video out shortly. This show, like, subscribe. We're getting a few subscribers trickling in. So, push it. Tell people about it. Let's get to 500. Keep it going. The show's been around for a few years, so it's all slow. But you just have to somehow hit it and get like a burst, man. Maybe I need to change something. I don't know. Maybe I need to not be a dick. I don't know. But yes, like, subscribe here. Tell people about it. Listen on audio as well. Apple, Spotify, Spreaker. We're getting the numbers are going up over there too, so slowly, but it's a slow crawl. Dungeon mastering. Covered in Uke, my ukulele cover channel on YouTube. You can check that out as well. Patreon.com/LearnToToad if you want to support me there. You can do that. And I appreciate all that for sure. Even if you want to just throw me some for giving out winners on the show here. So we've had a good year so far. So it's highly unlikely we're not going to have a winning year this year. And my track record. Like, I've only had 2 losing years in I think it's now 19 years that I've done this. Only twice have we had a losing year, and they were fairly small losing years. And it sucks when they happen. One of them was recent. I've only done this show for, I think, 3 or 4 years now. One of those losing years was during doing this show, but the other years have been wins, and a couple of big ones too. So hopefully we can keep getting it done. Had a good end to last year to finish with a decent winning year last year too. So, and we're winning this year, and it's likely to be a winning year this year. So let's keep it going. Oh, and also we have Loser Cast every Tuesday night. You can check that out. And the G-Spot Giants podcast, New York Giants. That's going to do. Nobody cares about the San Francisco Giants, and they're humping each other as a celebration. It's Pride Month now, man. That's going to do it. Peace.
But don't you go quiet, don't you fade from the floor. Your name still means something to somebody for sure. Put the glass down, baby. Look at me now.